Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is the first actual video for cooking that I've done in a while, and I've got a new camera, so got to work out how that works for me. But welcome to the show. Today what we're going to be making is we're going to be making our own yogurt in the Instant Pot. Now, I've had an Instant Pot for a while now, but I wasn't making yogurt with it because I was very leery of the whole homemade yogurt thing. And I was, you think of yogurt, you think about sugar, and you think about milk, and you think to yourself, well, that won't work on a low carb thing because it's just packed with sugar. But I discovered this is not always the case. Now, first off, the lower the concentration of fat in your milk, the higher the content of sugar in your yogurt, which is okay, that's cool, fat is good, we know this. The second thing is, the longer it takes to make the yogurt, the more the lactose, which is actually a milk sugar, is broken down. And the more bacteria, I know bacteria is a bad word, but not always, okay, because there are good bacteria and there are bad bacteria. So when you make a yogurt with a full fat milk, and you do it like over a longer period, like 24 hours, the yogurt has very little lactose. It's a little more tart than a lot of the commercially available stuff, but it's packed full of probiotics, which are good bacteria, and it is really low in sugar and high in fat. It has all the calcium, nutrients, everything you want in your dairy, with a lot less of the negatives and a lot more added bonus. Now, I recently had a hospital stay that required a lot of antibiotics. And as we know, the antibiotics really mess up your flora, your belly and whatnot. So to combat this, the best way to do it is to yogurt. Use probiotics, yogurt, fermented foods. I'm getting really into fermented foods. Fermented foods are awesome, okay? They really help you out health-wise. Now, for this, we're going to need a few things that are a little bit off the shelf. Now, we're going to need the good old-fashioned Instant Pot. Now, it doesn't have to be an Instant Pot brand. There are other cookers that have a yogurt function. What did I knock over? Can't have been important. Anyway, there are other yogurt makers. There are other pressure cookers. It's just I have an Instant Pot. And I enjoy my Instant Pot. It's actually really one of my favorite things to use, right? Poor old Bessie here has been through the war, and I love her, okay? So, here I have some whole fat milk. It's homogenized milk, which, it's not ideal, but I'm in Canada, and homogenized milk is pretty much it. There's like homogenized 2%, 1%, skim, all those other milks don't have as high fat content. Like, I don't have access to raw milk, and I don't have access to unhomogenized milk. I don't know if it's available nationally or provincially, but in my area I don't have access to it. So homogenized it'll have to be. Now, this isn't good for cheese or any of that good stuff, I find, but making yogurt, aces, okay? Now, this is just powdered milk. If you want your yogurt a little thicker, right, you're going to want to add a little bit of powdered milk. This is like an organic powdered milk, so like, I know what's in it. I'm not going to show you the brand because this is not like a sponsored thing. Nobody's making any advertising budget off of this. This is just, I use an organic milk that I get online. It's pretty good, actually. You know what's in it. You don't have to worry about any chemicals or anything weird or anything. So that's good. Now, the last thing you're going to need is you're going to need an active probiotic yogurt. You're going to need something that is known, because some yogurts, it has to be a plain yogurt. It can't be flavored. It can't be have fruit mixed in. It can't have any of that. It has to be like a plain yogurt. You can get starters at certain health food stores, but you don't want to go that way. You can just use yogurt. Any sort of off-the-shelf. I'm not going to mention any brand names, although I use Activia. I like the taste. You can use a Greek yogurt, whatever. Now, this is something you might not have. This is a temperature gun. It's like a little laser thing that like tells you the temperature of stuff. Because there's certain temperature ranges you're going to need to stay within to make sure it's safe and to make sure the bacteria grow properly. Okay? So, let's get to work. Okay, so we just pour the milk into the Instant Pot. Now you want to make sure it's nice and clean because you don't want any opportunistic bacteria or fungus or anything to grow, splashing everywhere, to grow anywhere. So make sure everything is, I just actually ran this through the dishwasher. There we go, glug, 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 glug. Okay, so we got it here in the pot. Okay, now we have the milk in the pot. We put the cover back on. And how cool is that you can actually use the handle to just securing the ring. So you want to make sure the ring is on there properly at all times. Okay, now, this is the tricky part. Okay, first we're going to hit the yogurt button, right? Then we hit adjust, and we want to take it to boil. Okay, what we're doing first is we're going to be boiling the milk. What that does is it separates a bunch of the proteins and breaks it down in such a way to make it more digestible by the bacteria. Okay, so this takes about an hour or so, and then when it gets up there we have to wait for it to drop to the right temperature. And we're going to leave that do its thing and then we'll be back. Okay, and here we have the milk after it's finished boiling. Basically, the pot took it up to about 180 degrees, and from there, it stayed for a minute, and it started to lower the temperature. Now, we check the temperature. There we go. And it's about 110. Well, yep. Okay, so to this, we're going to add our starter, which is the yogurt in question. Now we're going to add about 3/4 of a cup of active culture yogurt. Now we don't want to add too much because that'll make it runny. And we're going to add about a cup of the powdered milk as well. Now that's entirely optional, but I find it adds a nice thickness to the yogurt. Now this will be thick on its own. You don't have to add the powdered milk. Now once you get that in there, let me just take this off here. I have a whisk in there because you have to give that a good stir. Especially with the powdered milk, you don't want any clumps. Okay. Now we don't want to stir it too much. Okay, and here we have the finished product. As you can see, it is beautiful and thick. So what we do is we just give it a quick stir because we don't want to lose that water that's in there. Basically this reintegrates everything. You give it a good stir because some of it is thicker than others. It separates a little bit. So we'll just give it a good go over with the whisk. And there we have it. Lovely, thick, tangy, homemade yogurt in the Instant Pot. So if you